we have to talk about Cassian Andor and Diego Luna, who plays Cassian Andor. Andor season 2 about to come out. And look, I don't think that Andor is a lot of people's like cup of tea necessarily. However, for people that did watch it, it's one of the bright spots for some Star Wars fans in the sludge that has been Disney Star Wars. And it is one of the only series that had positive momentum towards the end. Instead of people dropping off, it actually picked up viewers. With all that being said, certainly not impressive ratings-wise for season 1. I think there's a reason they went from planning to do 5 seasons to just wrapping it up in season 2. But you know what? With some people speaking positively about it, could have been an opportunity for them to get more people to give this show a shot after they heard some good things. Diego Luna made sure that this is Disney Star Wars. And as always, if you don't vote for the right person, they don't want you as a fucking fan. Diego Luna, when asked if everyone has the Force, it depends. It depends who you voted for. Great. Now, this is 100% in reference to Trump. And earlier, this is on Jimmy Kimmel. Earlier in this interview, because it's on Jimmy Kimmel, so he can't help but bring up Trump, he does talk about that. And they make, references to the Gulf of America versus the Gulf of Mexico. And Diego Luna's talking about how scared some of his people are right now in his home country, but all this bullshit. So this is 100% about Trump. And it's one thing to have whatever political opinion, as we said multiple times. When you start mixing it into the promotion for your show and even the world in which it exists, that's a fucking problem. And it's going to turn a lot of people off like this.
I just
there are no lightsabers in your show. There's no the Force. The Force is not with you at all.
Well, no, wait a second. I mean, there's no Jedis around, but the Force is with me even now. I mean,
even right now?
Yeah.
Does it spread to others, or is it limited to you?
It depends. It depends. It depends who you voted for.
And the retarded seals clap, right? Now,
yep.
This is 100%. I mean, this is exactly like Mark Hamill, right? If you're MAGA, go force yourself. Yep. Essentially saying to half the people in this country that, and this is within the framework of Star Wars. It's not just somebody giving their political opinion. This is in the framework of promoting your show, selling your show, and within the world that exists for this show, Star Wars, like Mark Hamill says as well, you are taking these political talking points and saying, go fuck yourself if you don't think the same politically as us. And you're not welcome. Half of the potential audience, you are not welcome because we don't agree with you. That is fucking retarded.
Agreed. Also, that Gina Carano lawsuit looks better and better each time one of these Star Wars actors decides to say something political right before their show is going to air. So I just hope they keep doing it, because they seems like they never learn. They think they're on the right side of history. They think that they're causing an own, and it's just backfiring in their face. And I love to see it. I love to see it. So keep on keeping on. Just when you thought the greatest Star Wars project that nobody watched, which I consider Andor, because I guess the people that did watch it, like you said, enjoyed it, but it was very low rating. I guess we'll see what part 2 is going to bring. So.
It's one of the only Star Wars series that had any sort of true positive word of mouth, with the exception of probably like Mandalorian season 1, which was big and I think appealed more to normies and stuff, even though I had a lot of problems with it. Like Andor is one of the only things that had a growth in viewership as it went on. Can't say that for Acolyte, for Obi-Wan, for Boba Fett, for the recent Mandalorian seasons, for Ahsoka. Like none of this shit. All of it fucking falls off and drops like a rock. And I didn't really like this series. I think it's competently made, right? But it doesn't really interest me in general from the principle. Like, I don't care about the main character. I don't care about Cassian Andor. Cassian Andor, Rogue One, to me, was a very bland fucking movie that people only remembered because of the last 20 fucking minutes. And that the entire principle was, once again, a repurposed, stolen, bastardized idea where they gender swapped Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors and made it Cassian Andor and Jyn Erso. But Jyn was the main character instead of, our basically gender swap roles for Kyle Katarn getting the Death Star plans. That's what this was. And so I was not a big fan of Rogue One in general. I don't care about the character of Cassian Andor, but I do think when you look at it, it's more competent than virtually everything else that they've done. But for a lot of people, especially a lot of normie audiences, it doesn't really feel like the world of Star Wars. And I certainly understand that that criticism. I think Andor could be a cool piece if Disney Star Wars was doing great and had a bunch of things that all the regular fans really wanted. Something like this is a little bit different, maybe a little bit more adult oriented and shit like that. I think that could be a really cool piece of the entire Star Wars puzzle. But right now, there's fucking nothing that people are enjoying from Star Wars. So Andor doesn't really work that way, and you're not going to draw in people, and you're not gonna bring fans back with something like Andor that doesn't feel like the general normal Star Wars audience thinks a Star Wars show should feel like.
It's kind of crazy too that the amount of money that they're spent on this show is, it's big blockbuster movie type money.
It's because it's real. It's real set. It's like, and that's actually why when you look at like the trailers and stuff, it looks good in terms of visually. Because it's real shit. It's not on the volume, but it's expensive. Think about it. They filmed this like basically the same way they filmed Rogue One, but this is, 12 episodes. It's probably like 9 hours of runtime. That's a lot. That's a fucking lot.
Again, like going back to like what I've said earlier, it's like I always thought that the Disney Plus Star Wars shows would be something like the Skeleton Crew, maybe an Andor show, but not spend that kind of money on it and just be like a little accent to the movies that come out, like a little side quest. But it just seems to me that they're pushing that as that's their main content. And Star Wars Celebration is this weekend in Japan. So they'll probably do a big Andor push to see if they can get those numbers up. I don't know. Maybe they'll announce
it debuts on Tuesday, right? So
yeah, maybe they'll announce Acolyte 2 is coming, and they just kept it a big secret. So the crowd will go wild. Massively wild. But we'll see. I just don't care. I thought the first one was extremely boring. I might have missed some stuff because I had to watch it on the Black Pearl. So maybe some stuff was, I don't know if stuff was cut out, but holy crap. It's basically broken down into 3 parts. And if you watch every third episode, you're caught up on the whole thing. The other 2 are just, to me, it's just word salads. That's all it is.
I like in theory, the concept of Andor more than I like the show itself. But I think that I'm very much in the minority when it comes to the general audience when it comes to that. Like I said, I think that if you had everything clicking for Star Wars and a show like Andor that came out where it's a little bit smaller scale in terms of the people you're dealing with, no Jedi force powers, no anything like that necessarily, and you're getting a view into some of the people that exist within the Star Wars universe that we don't really quite understand, like the drones who were like out of a fucking 1,000 people in this office, this one random Imperial drone and what his life is like. The people on the ground, some people who have no problem with the Empire because things haven't really fucking changed and it doesn't matter to them. Other people who feel like they're being crushed by the authority of the Empire. Like in principle, I like those ideas and concepts a lot. But I feel like I'm in the minority when it comes to somebody who would be interested in something like that. Right? I don't think the general audience is super interested in a story like that. I think the general audience just kind of wants flashy fucking dumb shit. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, they gave him flashy stuff and they still didn't watch because they've killed the brand so bad. The Star Wars IP is just CW production at this point. It's not a big, massive blockbuster. I don't think Mando and Grogu is going to do anything. They'll probably release a teaser trailer this weekend, and hopefully people will get butts in the seats to go watch that. But I don't think it's going to be the big hit they think it is. I think the time for Baby Yoda, yes, did it sell tons of merch when it came out and probably kept Star Wars floating for a little bit longer. But that ship has sailed, man. That little baby Yoda is in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I don't know what they're expecting out of it. And I believe that you are right. I don't think it's going to do much, but I don't know what they're expecting it to do. I wonder what the budget's going to be like, because if they film it in the same way that they film the seasons of Mandalorian, there's a chance that they could have a significantly lower budget than some, and that might not look super spectacular. To me, that's one like advantage that they should have when making these things. That's the entire reason George Lucas created the volume, so that you could do things and make shows like this without a crazy budget like it would have been for Star Wars Underworld. That is why, which is why when this story was going around a couple months ago, that people were like, whoa, this is groundbreaking news. It's like, it's not groundbreaking news at all. It's been around for forever. And this is why George Lucas created the volume, because of how much these shows were going to cost. And so if you can do a season of Mandalorian for between 80, 90, $100 million, how much did you spend on this movie? And if it's 250, 300 million, why? When you know you have the capacity to make it for less. So I don't know.